Warning, this episode contains explicit content. Please proceed with caution. We live in a digital age, an age where things are happening at a rapid speed. And one of the things that we are always in a rush to is meeting the one. Many of us spent our lives searching for that person, only to find ourselves in disappointment, or to realize that maybe that person is not out there for us. But in reality, the one is out there for us. And if we don't have what we want, are we doing absolutely everything in our power to get it? I mean, it all starts with our mindset. Our mindset has to change. They say that a lesson is not learned will keep showing up in your life. We have to understand that in order to meet the one, we have to take ourselves everywhere we go. We have to be truly authentic to ourselves so that others can see us for who we are and not for what we want them to see us for. On this week's episode, I interview Valeria Sweet, who is the author of The Most Wanted One in the World. Valerie has an amazing book that gives us an insight into what it takes to find the one and what we need to do in our lives to find that person. But it all starts with us. Now let us go to that conversation and see what Valeria Sweet has to say about finding the one in today's modern day. Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to Whiskey Sex Talk. I am your host, Romeo. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Valeria Sweet, author of The Most Wanted One in the World, How to Be the One to Meet the One. Valerie, welcome to Whiskey Sex Talk.
Hi.
So how's it going?
Good. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thank you so much for coming into our studio. I'm really excited. I'm glad you actually said yes to coming in. I really want to talk about your book so bad. So I just want to jump in really quick. So before we begin, I just want to ask you, what led you to write a book on how to meet the one?
Well, so I've been life coaching people for a long time.
Okay.
And it's not just love coaching. It's also, whatever they're going through. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted was for people who don't even know me or who don't have the access to talk to me for an hour one-on-one to be able to have my advice. So I thought, if I just write a book, that way people can find it and they can get my advice whenever they want, it'll be accessible. So about 2 years ago, what prompted me was my sister, we would have, heart-to-hearts about our experiences, right. And she would ask me questions, and she'd be like, oh, well, how does this remind you of another relationship you had? What should I do? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's really cool that you're looking up to me for advice now too. And I want other people to also get this advice. So I started journaling about it.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so I would journal about different topics that I would want to talk about, and from that stemmed putting together a book. And then I started a blog, thesweetpost.com, last year, and it was about different topics. So it was mindset, relationship, productivity stuff, and, part of the relationship ones, people were really, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. What's the karmic connection? Because I wrote about soulmates, I had an article about how to meet the one, and which is it's an interesting exercise. Right. It's writing down what you want in your partner. And so I took everything I journaled about and then everything that was in my blog that was related to relationships, and I put it together as a book. And it's just interesting how things come together. Right. Once you have an idea for something and you actually start, everything just comes together like a puzzle piece.
I think it's amazing that you are actually the person that people actually came to for advice, and you actually went above and beyond, and you started journaling and actually writing a book as if, writing a book for advice. That's amazing, because I can tell you that just by the fact that you did that alone, you probably are one of those writers that speaks to your audience, and people connect with you. So you decided, you wrote this and everything came together. And then here you are with this amazing book. I feel like that people are actually, and it's amazing because it's a short read. And you have your blog, your post, right? Your blog?
Yeah.
Which is, what is it?
Thesweetpost.com.
Thesweetpost.com. That's amazing. I have to ask you not ask you a question, but so there is no dispute, right, that we are living in a hyper-connected era, searching for a partner, a date, or a mate. And it seems that everyone is doing everything in their power, right, to find the one. Yet it seems that we're living in an age where a lot of people find themselves unsatisfied. How can we get out of that mode? Because everything's so overwhelming. I'm even overwhelmed, like on all the dating apps that I'm on. Like, what can we do? What can you teach us? Like, where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, for one, if you always view people as just options, you'll always keep looking. So, I've actually never used dating apps. I'm sure they're great for fun, but I don't know how they are for actually like meeting the one, because you have to have all these values in place before you start meeting people. So you have to know yourself first, right? That's what my book's about.
Right.
You have to know yourself first. You have to figure out what you want, and then you browse the catalog of people. So, but we're not just meeting people based on their looks, right? It's their values, like what they're like, their personality,
Right.
their family, like it's everything put together. So you have to know everything that you want in your partner before you can actually meet the one. So yeah, we have a lot of options right now. And it's interesting because for us, like, we remember what it was like before cell phones, before computers,
Yes, yeah.
I have a little sister who's 12. She was born into this.
Yeah, she's a digital native. That's what they call them.
Yeah, Generation Z. And they, I wonder what it's going to be like for them to meet people, because they're always so connected. But we can still go out and meet people without like having this attachment to the phone, We can still do that. So I think the most important part is going out and meeting people, but also knowing what it is that you want before you meet the person. And then, don't view them as like, oh, it's just another date, but get to know them.
Wow. I mean, that's so intimidating because, we live in, I think it's called the Tinder generation that we're living in, where everybody's just swiping. Everybody's disposable. But yet, even when I go out, or when people go out, people are on their phones. You go to a club, you go anywhere, people are on their phones, and it's so intimidating now just to meet someone, because I think it's that fear of like rejection. So, and the funny thing too is like, I've caught myself, like, I'll go out, I'll be on my phone on whichever dating app I'm on, and I'll be looking more on my phone to see who's around me than versus to see who's actually physically around me. And there's always this nervousness that happens of trying to connect with someone, because we're so self-consumed. Let's just say that, to be honest. I don't mean that in the worst way. I mean in the way that we are just really on our phones, walking around. So you said that we have to match our values. What's some of the things that we have to like align? Like, how do we go about to doing that?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I would like to start with what you just said. Everybody's on their phones, but it starts with you.
Okay.
Right? So you noticing how much you're on your phone, be on the phone a little less,
Right.
And like attracts like. So if you're on your phone all the time, how are you going to attract a person who's not on their phone? Right? So start with you first. Be aware of how you are in real life, how you are in a relationship, and then you're going to attract that person that's going to match you energetically, vibrationally, and just like, the same. So, for example, you really value, your family and like family relationships.
Right.
So you're going to look in somebody else for the same thing, right? You want them to also have some family values. So those are some questions that should be asked and not asked like 10 dates in,
Right.
and that's what I talk about in my book about red flags and finding out all the things that you want to know right in the beginning. Like, why wait and like pretend like you're this cool person, this cool, fun person? Just go out that and ask them questions that are important to you and see how serious they are.
That's very interesting. Okay, so that alone can be intimidating because you might ask a question, another person might think you're very bold, assertive, or very like. Should we even care about that if people
Maybe
think
they're
that?
not the right person for you.
Interesting.
We shouldn't be worried about jeopardizing this relationship with the person we just met. It's like it's the same as in friendships, right?
Right.
You don't wait to see this person 30 times to make sure that they're a good friend. You like either connect with them or not. So also in your dating life, like, don't just go by, oh, I want them to like you.
Right.
But see if you match,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like, don't be afraid to ask questions that are important to you. Like, if religion is important to you, that
should be the topic.
That should be the topic.
Right.
If like, for some reason you don't want kids or you want a lot of kids, like, be open about that.
Right.
A lot of people, I feel like, hide important topics, and that means that you're not going to be with the right person from the get-go, because if you're hiding yourself from them, how are you going to match?
Right. And that's very true. You said something very specific. We live in an age where we're so desensitized, yet we're walking around like we're sensitizing ourselves. We're actually like we're limiting ourselves the way we interact. We're so scared of asking, are you religious, for example, right? And we put so much effort in just the like aspect. Like, you want that person to like so much, and it creates a confusion because you were really not projecting ourselves. Which actually, I when it comes to dating, for example, like getting to know someone, it seems like that people tend to project what they want to see in the other person, and we're truly not being ourselves, right? So how can we overcome that? Like, how do we get past that point, not to be pretentious or not to be projecting? What are some of the tools that we can utilize so we can actually just be us and be present? As your book states, it's very important to be very present. Because I feel like we all project. I've done it numerous times. I'm pretty sure we all can relate to that, when we like someone and yet we're so scared of asking the important questions, and then we fall back. And what can you tell us about that?
Well, I think it goes back to loving yourself first. You have to be the one for yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to know yourself. And you have to know that you are enough no matter what. Like, you have to accept yourself before somebody else will. You can't outsource your happiness and like crowdfund your happiness, You have to look for the happiness within.
And sorry to interrupt. And what do you mean by outsourcing? Like, outsource your happiness?
A lot of people think that somebody else will make them happy.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But nobody can make you happy. They can only make you happier, because you have to start with you. You make yourself happy. You make yourself happy because, you are paying attention to your health. You are paying attention to who's around you, your friends, your moral support. You have your own goals and you're going towards them. So you have to have your own life first. And I'm not saying like you have to be single forever until you have these values in place and then you can meet the one. You can be in a relationship, but you have to work on yourself first, and then you work on the relationship. So you have to make yourself happy, because nobody else can make you happy.
Right.
They can only make you happier, and they can add to your life, but they can't just like bring happiness to you.
Right. And it seems like there is this kind of idea, right, that love is like a commodity, that you can buy it. I feel like a lot of us fall into that trap where we do things, we love someone, we show them affection by buying things, when in reality that person might not be into it. And we tend to do all these crazy things that really are not even in tune to who we are. And in addition, what I found also that, I'm speaking from my experience, and I'm pretty sure, and this is talking to other people, friends that I know, and just in general, having conversations with people I know, when it comes to dating and getting to know someone, it seems that people sometimes bring their previous relationship into the next, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. What are tools that we can do to prevent like those things? Because those things really hurt you. Like there's been so many times I've heard people, even myself, where you go on a date and they're talking about their ex, or you're in a relationship and then that person says, "Oh, you're just like my ex," or "You're like this," and I'm just like, "Are you kidding me?" And we've all done it. I think we've all been a victim and a perpetrator in that aspect. But it's very hard to like leave the previous relationship behind you and just start anew, because they say that our experiences shape us, but sometimes it lingers. And it's just, it's hard. And I feel like that's one of the things that most of us find it's challenging, because it creeps up on you. What can you tell us? What tools do we have?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, right? So, first of all, you have to be aware of that. And a lot of us are not. But we are attracted to a lot of similar types.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people will think, oh, I like blondes, oh, I like brunettes. That's not the type you're attracted to. You're attracted into like the inner values in the people, Some people say that, girls are attracted to people who remind them of their dad, or guys
right,
are,
I've heard that, yeah.
attracted to people who remind them of their mom. So there's something about that, relatives for sure. But yeah, you have to be wary of your patterns. And some people like me, I was attracted to a lot of hopeless romantics, and I didn't really know that was a through line until I like looked at everything. I was like, oh, okay, I see now. And the thing about hopeless romantics, and not to be confused with romantics, because romantic should be a quality, right?
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be like, this is how I am, this is my lifestyle. So hopeless romantics, they talk a lot about, there is, these romantic things, but they don't actually act on them. But you get attached to the words, and and I'm a person of action. So once I realized that, I was like, oh, you know what? I really like actions. I'm a doer, so I like actions. So I can't be with a person who just talks and says nice things and never acts on them. So you have to realize your own pattern. And once you do, you have to make a list of like things that you actually want in your partner. And that's going to really help.
So it's taking inventory that really what it comes down to, like really being honest with yourself.
Yeah, you have to be soberly honest.
Brutally
honest.
And it's hard. I mean, I think there's been times where I've attempted to do that, or I mean, people have probably done that, and there's some things that you're blinded by, of your own self. And it's hard, to realize that. If we want to meet the one sooner, how do we align with who we are? Is it just only taking inventory? What other steps or measures can we do to just be more connected and in tune?
Well, so this exercise that I have in my book, I'll talk a little bit about it. So first of all, you really have to be aligned with yourself, right? You have to know what makes you happy, what you want, where you're going. And then you have to see, you have to write down like what you want in your partner, where you want to be aligned. So you can't just go by their physical qualities. You have to go off of what you want, what their inner values are going to be, because they're going to treat you so well and so awesome, but you have to write that down. You can't write down, oh, I want them to live over here and make this much money. Like, sure, like that can happen, but they might not align with you.
Right.
You can have best of both worlds, but write it all down, I suppose.
Right. I mean, it's almost like, it's really hard. It's like a soul searching thing, really.
It is. That's what it is.
And that could be a lifetime.
No, I don't think
No?
so.
No?
No.
Why do you say, I mean, I'm curious to know, because I that's how I'm thinking. Like, I mean, sometimes it could be a lifetime of soul searching.
I mean,
Or am I wrong? Is this why I'm single?
I think you're talking about a lot of things intimidating you right now, right? And I think you should just put yourself out there more.
Okay.
And you're awesome. I can see into your soul right now,
Okay.
and I can just tell that you have all the good qualities.
Oh,
You're
thank
just
you.
not like really putting them out there,
Okay.
you know?
Right.
So you just have to make sure that dig deeper. Dig deeper into yourself and also into the people that you're meeting, you know? So, from the get-go, just make sure that you know your values
Right.
and just see how you align. And if it doesn't match, like, don't try to make it work.
Right. And we
A lot of people just try to make it work.
do.
And it's like, love is not enough. Being in love with somebody is not enough. It's not going to be enough right now. It's not going to be enough when you're married. It's just not going to be enough.
Right.
What is going to be enough is, are they going to be there for you? Are they responsible enough? Are they, are they letting you be who you are?
True.
Think of like bigger things.
Right. Things that are, and it's funny because my mom, hi mom,
Hi, Mom.
she always tells me that love complements your life. It's not something you need. It just complements your life.
That's so beautiful. That's
And,
exactly it.
and it's interesting because I feel like a lot of us, sometimes we fall into those traps, like you said, like we're willing to so impress that person and we start projecting, or sometimes both people start projecting.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when, you start dating, and then a few months later you break up and you realize you don't know why. It's because you were in that honeymoon phase and everybody was projecting what they wanted to see in the other
Yeah, and
person.
like nobody was real with themselves,
There is a way to recognize if someone is the one. I mean, correct?
Yes.
And what red flags or hints should we look for in the event that we're in that process? What kind of things that, because your book you touch upon it.
Mm-hmm.
What are things that you can give us? I mean, you have to buy the book, guys, because the book is really, really good. We're really just touching like the basics of what her book is, and it's really, really, I recommend it. But anyways, back to, so what is it what can you give us? How can we, what little bits of advice you can give us on that ground?
Well, the thing with chemistry, you're going to have chemistry with a lot of people.
Right.
Because you're going to be physically attracted to people,
Right.
no matter if they're right for you or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't recommend going off of just that. A lot of people will think, oh, this seems right. Like, we seem like we would fit into each other's lives. But you can't be so sensible about it. You have to make sure it feels right. You have to go off of the energy. When you meet somebody, within seconds, you really know, like, if they feel right or if they don't. And then even if they don't, but they're like, oh, well, it makes sense, like they live close by, or like,
right.
We went to the same school. Like, you kind of try to rationalize it. That's not good.
So we shouldn't rationalize.
No,
these things.
don't rationalize. And
do a lot of people rationalize, or a good number of people?
A lot of people rationalize. Other people go off of just their heart. So there's heart, there's brain, and then there's energy. And the thing is, our heart is gonna be too nice, right? It's gonna be like, oh, well, they're so nice, and I think I'm falling in love with them. And your brain is gonna be like, it makes sense.
Oh, interesting.
But energy doesn't lie. It either feels right or it doesn't. And it works for not just meeting the one, it works for every part of your life. If something doesn't feel right, it means it's not in alignment with you.
It's an intuition.
Yeah.
Your body does have a way of telling you.
It could be about a job.
Right.
It could be about friends. It could be about like going somewhere. So just, listening to like that thing within you. And so another thing is listening to what your date will tell you, because again, like, we rationalize whatever they're saying, and we'll skip some parts. they'll tell us if something is not in alignment with us, but we just like will miss these things. And we have to listen really carefully because people will tell you that like sometimes that they're not even a really good person. And we'll be like, oh, ha, 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 that's so funny.
We brush it off. Yeah.
Yeah. So like really pay attention to what they're saying. It's really important. And then just, just see, do they align with your life or do they not? Because they could be a great person, but it doesn't mean that they're right for you right now.
That's very interesting. If that's the case, what do you do then? Do you just move on or do you keep
You can be great friends.
True.
Be friends first, see how that
Absolutely.
works out. I mean, it's always my advice to be friends first.
And I think that's a great piece of advice.
Because you get to know somebody so much better when you're friends.
And it's more organic, I feel like, when you meet when you get to know someone like on a friendship
don't
level.
ask people out right away. Like
Right.
I see that all the time and I'm just so turned off by it. Because if you ask somebody right away, you are disregarding them because
Interesting.
most of the time they're gonna say no. They don't really know you, right? So, and then you're gonna be embarrassed and ashamed that you got rejected, and you're not gonna want to be friends with them. And you outright telling them that what I'm interested in is like your attractiveness, So I say, let that part of your ego go, and like first get to know the person, get to know what they're about.
Right.
Maybe you don't align with them, so why are you asking them out like right away?
And that's very interesting because there are people that rather they're like we quote unquote people who are very slow at dating, and then there's people that jump. I feel like a lot of you said something ego. I never thought about that, but it makes sense that our ego is willing to bypass the let's be friends and just get straight into the dating thing, which is very detrimental. I mean, it's very harmful because, like you said, we disregard that person and we make it about ourselves. And wow, I just realized that. And it's kind of, and as we get older, I feel like, and for me, I feel like there is this kind of thing that you start realizing that it's better to know people first before you even attempt to proceed with the next step. Because like you said, we're attracted to a lot of people. We walk around and, in LA, it's very easy to find everybody's
LA,
attractive,
yeah.
But the reality is that we need to get to know. And I think a lot of us just try to bypass like all these steps. And let me ask you, would you say that when it comes to dating, we have to treat it very seriously? Because I feel like there is this notion that with today's modern technology and everything moving so fast, we want like quick fix, like exactly how we're getting the things through social media and through dating apps. We're kind of becoming I want to say a victim of the world we've created. And as a result, we're not even treating dating very seriously. We're just like, oh, we're just gonna go hang out. Some people find it as a hookup or whatnot, but like in reality, I feel like there is some sort of sense like we got to slow it down and really take it seriously if we're looking for the one, because we all trying to rush for it. I feel like that's the thing. It's very hard to do that.
Well, you have to be, again, honest with yourself, right? Because do you want to date or do you want to meet the one? Those are two different things, right? Because dating is just like, casually getting to know people. You're not in a relationship with them yet. You're not attached to them yet. So it depends on what people want. Some people just want to have fun. And then other people who want something more serious, they shouldn't be looking to date. They should be looking for the relationship that's right for them. So you have to be honest with what you want and then call it a proper name, and then you'll get that.
That's very beautiful because I think that we need this type of like advice of how to treat these things seriously. I think there's a lot of confusion happening out there where a lot of us confuse dating with finding the one. And I feel like within that mess, we are left unsatisfied. There's this thing that kind of like we're walking around. There's a lot of lonely people, and there's a lot of people who are happily married or people that are married and they realize that they're not right for each other. Your book, what I love about is that there is this level of seriousness, and it all starts with how serious you are. It starts with ourselves and what I care about, what my values are. And it's almost like you're saying we have to be unapologetic when it comes to going on the date. And really, if you're trying to meet the one, you just got to just lay it down, and that's it. As brutal as it is, but I mean, people might take it offensive, but like you said, you shouldn't be bothered by that. If anything, you probably relieve the other person or yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to have a relationship that's right for you. So look for that. And I think a lot of people don't really know what marriage is like.
Yeah.
Like they either don't have good examples, don't have examples, or like society tells us that a wife and a husband are a certain way. But you know what? Whenever you get married, it's gonna be how you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Don't think that like relationship is somehow gonna change once you get married. Like your wedding day is just a day out of your life. Your marriage begins way before then. Like it has to for you to actually want to marry that person. You know, spend the rest of your life with them. So yeah, just have to be in alignment.
Very realistic. I like that. That's what I like about, this book is just, it's just so there. And that's why, I mean, it speaks to like the reality of the situation. It's not trying to fluff things for you or, elaborate with this extensive language. It's just very there. And it's very interesting. You say that the marriage starts long before you're even married. Divorce rate is really high. The majority, I'm a millennial. I could say that there's a good number of millennials that come from divorce households. And the media doesn't help with telling us what marriage is. We really have no examples. Where can we get like these type of, you said, is there such a thing as getting examples of like how married couples function, or is it just something that it just evolves as the relationship evolves?
It's going to depend on how you function.
Okay.
You make your own relationship. So if it's a relationship that works for you, then who's to say it's wrong? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I wouldn't look for like celebrity marriages or anything as like an example. Cause,
I'm talking like TV, like,
yeah.
I mean, hopefully we're past that point, but I feel like there's
even
really young
TV,
people.
it's like really funny. I had this acting class once, and we're talking about how when we get the acting sides and there's like wife and a husband in the scene, people like to play it with like, oh, husband, so happy.
Very 1950s.
But it's like relationships are all different. Who knows how they get married? Some people marry for green card. Some people get married because like, well, we've been together for 10 years, might as well get married. Everyone's relationship is different. So you have to just work on what you want your relationship like, and then you're going to get that. And that's why it's important to write down like what you want, how you want to feel in a relationship, because you'll get that once you know what it is you want out of a relationship. But a lot of people never take that step to do that. And it goes for a lot of areas in our life, which is kind of like, we're in limbo because we say yes to too many things. We don't really, compartmentalize, and we have to get more focused on what we want out of life. So
especially now with everything we're so overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah,
we're so busy with our lives,
so
yet alone
much.
how do we go about trying to meet the one, or even dating, but specifically meeting the one? I think that's the end goal for the majority of people, because I believe that the human being is meant to be with another person. And I think that we can't walk around this earth being by ourselves. Some people are, and they're unicorns, but the reality is that we need it. We need our significant other. We need to create that intimacy and create what the heart really desires of what we're meant to be, for. Listen, it's amazing having you here on this show. I mean, I wish I can talk more. Is there any piece of advice you want to give to our audience who are listening? Something probably we haven't touched about that you really want them to walk away knowing?
Let me see what we got in our book.
Okay. By the way,
Let's
ladies and gentlemen, you guys have to get this book. This book is, first of all, it's an amazing read. And she's done an amazing work with this. It's so informative, and it's an easy read, and everything is it's very practical and very it helps you a lot, especially the whole aspect of taking the inventory and really knowing what your values are. And it's a great book. I highly recommend it. And her blog, by the way, is really, really fun to read. She has a lot of little tidbits of advice that I really recommend you guys check her out.
One of the advice things that I would like to share with your audience is not to lower your standards for anybody.
That's beautiful.
Make sure that you have your standards, of like your list of what you want, and you don't lower it for anybody. For the right person, it can lower because you will know that's the right person. But if you lower your standards for everyone that's coming along because you think, maybe it'll be okay, I just want to be with someone, you'll never find the one.
And you end up being more pretentious, I feel like. You end up not even being true to yourself, and in the process, you probably lose yourself.
Yeah. So have high standards.
So it's good to have high standards.
Yes, of course. Because you want what you want. You have to be, honest about that.
And but see, so it's so funny you say that, because we're being told that, people tell me, it's because you're picky or you have high standards.
That's okay.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Because a lot of us are being told this nowadays, that, everybody's so picky. Like, for example, social media is making everybody picky with high standards. That's one thing, right? Physicality of it. But you're saying that it's perfectly fine to have high standards, and when that right person comes along, most of us, I'm assuming, or people, it's okay to lower your standards for that person because you'll know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's a compromise.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about like they have to be physically this way. I'm
Right.
not talking about high standards like that. But they have to be like exactly what you want. Their values and where they're going in life. Why not?
That is amazing, Valeria. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Now, can you if our listeners, once again, if they want to buy or purchase your book or visit your website, can you let them know how to go about that?
Sure. So my book is called The Most Wanted One in the World. You can get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle. And also you can get it on my blog, thesweetpost.com. And when you sign up for a Monday motivation newsletter, you get a free summary of the book.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Valeria Sweet in the studio. I am your host. And that's it for this week. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, please feel free to email us at whiskeysextalk@gmail.com. That's whiskeysextalk@gmail.com. And also, please like and subscribe and follow us, because we are just getting started and we have so many things for you guys. And just like I said, like and subscribe and follow us. And that is it for this week.